this old Kurdish man sacrifice his last sheep on the eve of the American presidential election, then pray all night for George Bush's victory? Why did this Kurdish teenager write a poem expressing his thanks to Tony Blair, George Bush, and the American people? Why is it that the flag of Kurdistan flies over northern Iraq instead of the national flag of Iraq? The answer to these three simple questions provides an insight into the ongoing conflict in this region and why American intervention was necessary. Our world is petroleum-driven, a great juggernaut of a mechanism encompassing the whole planet, consuming rivers of oil to fuel millions of cars, light megacities, and power the industrial demands of whole nations. Most of the world's oil reserves lie in the Middle East, fueling political competition between Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Most people disdain the politics of oil. During the first days of the Iraq War, it was in vogue to make such statements as "no blood for oil," as if it were that simple. Without fuel, the juggernaut collapses, destroying the economy of the whole earth. This reality breeds the nightmare of political wrangling and agenda we all face on a daily basis, as we're regaled with an unstaunched flow of media news worldwide. Political expedience aside, there are real human issues at stake here. Multitudes of innocent lives are caught in the crossfire of modern power brokering. The Kurds of Iraq are one of these cultures. Until the American and British intervention, they faced annihilation as a people. The Iraqi regime under Saddam Hussein executed a systematic displacement of the Kurds from their traditional homelands, seizing their properties and Arabizing their lands. Many Kurds were forcibly relocated, while multitudes of others were exterminated. From time immemorial, the Kurds have lived in these mountains. They trace their history all the way back to Sumerian times, and history, as we know it, begins in Sumer. The Kurds claim descent from the ancient Medes. At one time, the Medes and the Persians ruled all the Middle East. They conquered the Babylonians. Their empire extended from modern-day Iran in the east to Turkey in the west. When the Greek army, according to Xenophon, marched through the region, they were harassed by Kurdish archers on horseback. A non-Arabic, Indo-European people, they were forcibly converted to Islam during the time of the Arab-Muslim invasion in the 7th century. The Kurds maintained control over their territory, now called Kurdistan, or the land of the Kurds, under many political banners until World War I, when the Ottoman Turkish Empire allied itself with Imperial Germany. After the defeat of Germany and the Ottoman Empire, the Western Allied forces divided up the Middle East into its current configuration, without regard for the Kurds or their rights. Originally, the Treaty of Sèvres, signed in 1920, promised them their own territory. It provided for an independent Kurdistan. The treaty was never ratified, and another treaty, that of Lausanne, was signed in 1923 favoring the Arab, Turkish, and Persian states. The Kurds were ignored by the great powers. Their land was divided into the surrounding states. These people, who had roamed their lands freely for millennia, now found their culture divided by new national boundaries. Because of the unrest that this injustice caused, There were many uprisings among the Kurds in Iraq, Turkey, and Iran. They came to be viewed by these states as a potential threat to their political security, a divisive element that had to be repressed. This has been the history of the Kurdish people since World War I, birthing within them a new sense of nationalism and a desire for a nation of their own.